Helium development company Pulsar Helium has shared an update for well testing activities at Jetstream 1 and Jetstream 2 at its flagship Topaz project in Minnesota. The co-founder, president and chief executive Thomas Abraham James joins me now. So Thomas, just in case the speed readers are misinterpreting what drilling fines are, they're not punitive or financial, but how do they impede flow testing as outlined in the shareholder update today?
Nice to see you, Sarah, as always. And yes, drill fines. So also, I guess you could call it dust as well. So it's not the most exciting thing, perhaps, but it's in the well when we drill down. And what it does is the drilling technique, the air hammer drill, it creates these dust particles. And it's fairly commonplace as well. And so what's happened is that these have, partially coated the well walls. And the result of that is that they need to be removed. And that's what they're in the process of conducting.
Okay, so this rock dust, what steps can you take to ensure that there is as little of it as possible? And is it doing any damage?
We're very fortunate with our reservoir that it's very competent rock. So the best analogy you could give is like a kitchen bench top, so very hard, rigid rock. So we've certainly got no damage to the wells. It's very competent. But what we see is with this dust, to get it out, there's a few conventional methods. As I say, it's quite a commonplace occurrence. So with this, you can use a mechanical solution. So basically, abrasive on the side of the wells to dislodge the dust. Then there's, almost sort of like a sort of fluid-based system as well to try and bind, like a sort of glorified detergent that would then adhere to it and remove. So there's a number of different techniques out there. And with the initial techniques that we used on site, using the flow testing equipment, we already saw a 10% improvement. So we certainly know that they're mobile and we can get them out. But using more specific equipment, it'll be a much quicker and more efficient job to get it out.
Okay, so a quicker and efficient job to get it out. We are talking about a technical cleanup. So how long will the cleanup take? And when might investors learn about the true flow rates?
Mm-hmm. So for the flow rates themselves, it's going to be 2 weeks per well. So we'd look at, say, 4 weeks to obtain the data. The cleanup itself, I anticipate that it'll probably take about a week to be conducted once the equipment's on site. So at the moment, we're just evaluating what is the best solution to use rather than going out and using multiple techniques to make sure that we get the right one there and then implement that. So itself, it shouldn't take too long, and then we go back to the original program of the flow testing.
Okay, so these drilling fines are created by the air drilling method. Is this the only option available to the company? Are other methods available?
There are other methods available. So what we did is we find that this one is the most efficient. But for us, we've got, originally we were looking at a fluid-based system, so water drilling. So we then pivoted to using the air drilling method, which we find is better for the rock type that we have and the rate of penetration as well. And then I guess the only other option left is coring, but that is a very slow solution and not something that we're looking at. So there are other parts of the USA where air hammer drilling is commonplace, and that's due to reservoir characteristics for these other locations. And to have this drill fines, this dust build up in the well is quite common. So the good thing is that we can lean on their experience and implement what they've used in the past.
So I'm guessing that these drilling fines have restricted the flow results. So to what extent have the results been impeded, and what do you expect the flow results to show once that wellbore wall is clean?
Well, what we see is that there is gas entering the wells. So we know that much. And so prior to doing the flow testing, what we had on the wellhead surface for each well is a pressure gauge. And what we saw is that the pressure built up there. And so we were very happy with the pressure numbers. And so that certainly indicated that something was coming into the wells. We then went to do the flow testing, and we did get gas come up to surface. So it's definitely not zero, like we were getting flow, but it was less than anticipated. And so then, for technical analysis of the data by our reservoir engineer, operations manager, and the team that we use, found that there was a restriction in the wells. So whilst it was flowing, it wasn't it wasn't breathing as it should, which is what indicated then to us that there was some form of blockage and that it was these drill finds. So I'm certainly comfortable with what we've seen. It's annoying from a delay standpoint. But otherwise, I think that the drilling and certainly the deepening of Jetstream 2 and the drilling of Jetstream deepening of 1 and drilling of 2, it certainly shows that it's been successful in identifying more helium-bearing gas.
So finally, just remind us, how long will this cleanup take, and what other news can we expect from the company, or is it all hinging on the big cleanup?
Well, look, there's in terms of the next steps, so the cleanup and then the flow testing is important for us. There's no doubt about it, because then that would lead into a resource update, economic analysis. So we want to make sure that we use the absolute numbers rather than hypotheticals. But so the cleanup itself, as I say, probably looking at about, once the gear's on site, you're probably looking at about a week or so, and then the flow testing 2 weeks per well. And then in the meantime, we're always busy working in the background. So certainly with key focus for us at the moment, whilst we're waiting for this data, is also just to increase our land package as well. So we're looking at additional licenses in our area of interest in Minnesota too. So that's ongoing, and so hopefully that gives everybody that level of confidence that we're certainly quite happy with what we've seen.
Okay, plenty going on. Many, many thanks. Thomas Abraham James, Chief Executive of Pulsar Helium. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Sarah.